The number one reason people give for starting a company is so that they can have freedom over their time. The busiest people that I know are business owners. There's only a select few that have been able to start a business, scale it to the point where they can step out and have it continue to generate profit for them. That's what I've been able to do. And this video is about how I manage my time, my tasks, and my energy so that I've been able to start and scale multiple businesses that now provide over 7 figures of passive income so that I can spend my day doing exactly what I want. My name's Cort Brady, and my mission is to help leaders and entrepreneurs build high-performing teams that run their businesses so that they can spend their time working on their business or in other pursuits. In this video, I want to talk about the difference between time management, why you need to transition to task management, and then energy management. Before we jump into time management, let's talk about the end goal, productivity. So to jump in, there's this entire world that exists of time management, energy management, task management. It is $1 billion industry where people are selling how do you do better with your time. There's books written called The One Thing, Essentialism, The Miracle Morning. All of these things are in a hope that your end result is going to be different. That's the entire goal of all of this. As you think about the end result for a business, it exists to make money. Then you can go and do things with that money that provide value in the world in different ways. But the reason a business exists at its core is to make money. And there's a simple equation that breaks everything down in a very simple way to say, how good am I at managing my tasks or managing my time? And the equation is how many hours do I put in times how much do I make per hour, and that equals how much money I made. So within the context of productivity, the worst advice I've ever gotten is just work harder. If you're an entrepreneur, you're already crushing it every single day. You're putting in your 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And if you're not doing that, then that's great advice. Work harder, because you're not going to be successful unless you are. The other part of the equation though is how much value can you generate per hour worked. This video is going to go through all of the principles that I've used to maximize my value creation per hour. Principle number 1, manage your energy, not your time. My short list on how I manage my energy effectively is I put my most important tasks and most creative tasks at the very beginning of the day. Plan all of your meetings, plan all of your podcasts for later in the day, and save that time in the morning for your most creative activities. I also plan and prime almost every second of my day. What that means is if I have a task of making cold calls for 90 minutes, I will open my CRM, have it on my computer ready to go, and have the first person ready to call with their number up on my screen so that when that 90 minutes comes up onto my agenda, there's no starting energy that's consumed. I just hop on the task and make the call. It's hardest to start. Once I'm started, it's easy to keep going. The next thing I do to conserve my energy is I create 90-minute jam sessions where I'm heads down on a single project with an alarm that goes off at the end of those 90 minutes. And when that alarm goes off, I have 10 to 15 minutes of rejuvenation. I go on a walk, I meditate. It's similar to if you were getting trained at the gym and someone said, hey, hop on the treadmill and run indefinitely. How fast would you run? How far would you get? Compared to somebody saying, hey, hop on the treadmill and run as far as you can in this amount of time. You're going to pace yourself and maximize how far you get in that amount of time if you know how long you're going for, compared to somebody that's just running indefinitely on the treadmill. Next, outsource every task that somebody can do 80% as well as you. When you're starting a company, it's critical that you do every role in the company, but that you don't do it for a long period of time. As soon as you've learned how to do it and there's somebody else in your organization that can do it 80% as well as you can, you have to outsource that task to them. I think the holdup for leaders and especially entrepreneurs is this business is their baby and their name is on every part of it, and they want everything to be done perfectly. So if they think, man, it's going to be done 80% as well as me, then they're just going to hold on to it. But the problem is you spread yourself out between all the tasks that need to be done, and so you can't give 100% to each of those tasks anyways. And if you can stack 80% for one person and another person, if you have 8 people working for you, you have 640% of what you could have done yourself. So if there's a task that someone else can do at 80% as well as you can, you got to outsource it. This next concept comes from one of my favorite books called The One Thing. And the concept is that you take a 4-hour block every single day to work on the business. And you're only allowed to pick one thing, not a bunch of different problems that you're going to solve, but one solution to a single problem that you want to solve in your business. So something big. And as you're entering this 4-hour window, you turn off your email, you close your door, you put a sign on your door, you put your phone on do not disturb so that you can spend 4 hours getting really deep into solving this problem. And the trick is that you have to put that in at the beginning of the day, because there's always going to be the whirlwind of your work, the fires that you need to put out, the urgent things that pop up throughout the day. This concept came to fruition for me when every single day I got to the office and I started with an emergency. Some customer or some employee had something that went wrong. So I realized that from 8 o'clock till 6 o'clock, I was going to be working in the business. There wasn't a way to get out of that. At that point, I didn't have the systems, the people, or the cash to be able to pull myself out. So my solution was to wake up and get in the office at 4:30 and work from 4:30 to 8:30 on the business, on the strategy, on the recruiting. And as I did that, I was able to make some small changes, and that time got bigger and bigger and bigger until we have 75 employees, and my time in the company is only an hour or two a week. The next concept is live like a lion. If you think about how a lion operates versus how a hyena operates, hyenas are always going, they sleep maybe 4 hours a day. They're always trying to find their prey. A lion, on the other hand, sleeps for 20 hours a day, and then they go hard for those 4 hours. It's intentional. If you try and always be on, never turning your mind off, you're not going to be able to have those ideas that are important to move your business forward. When you start a business, the most value you're bringing is from your activity. As you scale a business, the most value you bring comes from your thoughts and your thinking. When you start a business, you're the only one there, and so you have to put in the hours, you have to put in the work, you have to actually do the execution and the tasks. As you attempt to scale a business, the doing switches to thinking, and the only way you're going to have creative, innovative solutions to the problems that you're dealing with is if you are able to check out at the end of the day, turn off your phone, leave it in your car, have some time so that you can come to the office refreshed and have new ideas. This next concept comes from one of my favorite books, 10x is easier than 2x. It talks about having 3 types of days. Again, as you go through this process of dialing in your highest value add activities, it's helpful to think of yourself like an athlete or an actor. Can you imagine how insane it would be if Steph Curry played basketball for 8 hours and then he went and played a game that night, and then the next day he woke up and he played basketball for another 8 hours, went to the gym for 2 hours, and then played a game that night, and then the next day did the same thing. Obviously, that would be highly ineffective. The same holds true for you as you dial in your craft, and the activities that you need to perform are higher leverage and higher value add, and you're having hard negotiations, you're having to be highly creative and make really difficult emotional decisions. It's important that you're able to rest and recover so that you can make those best decisions. What that looks like is 3 different types of days. They are buffer days, rest days, and focus days. And I think of focus days like performance days. So on those buffer days, those are the days where I go through all of the mundane tasks. It might be setting up systems, it might be building processes, it might be going through financials. That's all buffer day activities. Rest days are completely turned off. One of the goals of a business owner should be to get your business to this point where you have a team in place where you can shut down for an entire day. To do that, again, start for the 4 hours in the morning and then work it 5, 6, 7 hours where you can then turn off your phone for an entire day and be totally refreshed when you come back to the office. And then the focus day is when you're going out and spending your time on your highest value add activities. Those are things like closing deals, raising capital, and recruiting your most important people in your team. If you can break your life down into those 3 categories, then you can be way more effective working 150 days a year than somebody that's working 350 days a year. This next principle is the most controversial, and I can hardly ever get anyone to do it, but once they do, the only regret they had is that they didn't do it earlier, and that is to hire an executive assistant. Everybody's first hire should be an executive assistant. The reason that that person is so important is because they are your ticket to freedom. The main reason that you can't turn off your phone for 4 hours or 6 hours or an entire day is because you're concerned about your business. You want it to be successful, and you want to be Johnny on the spot responding to all your clients' concerns and needs. The solution is to hire an executive assistant who checks your emails every hour or every 2 hours and calls you if you have any issues or urgent items that you have to take care of. The beauty of this is that you can generally find someone overseas overseas that you can pay a fraction of what you pay them in the United States, and it's still going to be more than what they would be making in that country. So that's it. If you can follow these 6 principles, you can maximize your productivity by increasing your output compared to your hours in. You can go from the 80-hour work weeks all the way to 10 hours of working in your business and spending the rest of your time working on your business.